I awoke to an unfamiliar scene. Silken sheets, a gleaming ceiling, and a man staring coldly beside me. No, this can't be real. I must still be dreaming. But then I truly looked at him. Wait, this man is ridiculously handsome. I heard my inner single mother self exclaim. Chiseled brows, eyes like stars, an eight-pack. He truly exuded an overwhelming aura of dominance. Yes, just like a true tyrant. I relaxed into the bed. Go on, look. Don't pity me, for I am a fragile flower. I concluded that I had transmigrated into a novel. The man before me ground his teeth, angrily pinching my chin. His sharp, alluring eyes burned with fury. I advise you to stop these games, Maeve. Don't think for a second that just because you've entered my home, I, Damon Blackwood, will acknowledge you. This situation felt familiar. Based on my extensive experience reading trashy romance novels, I was clearly the resilient, unyielding woman, deeply in love with the man before me, who had taken my body but couldn't possess my heart. We would embark on a tragic journey of emotional torment, then physical abuse, followed by mutual torment, both psychological and physical, between life and death, love and hate, with the drama escalating endlessly. I was sure there'd also be a beautiful, pure, lotus-like younger sister. Just then, Damon Blackwood chimed in with a sarcastic remark. You're just a replacement for Nina. Nina. Hello. How much did Nina pay you? JD.com pays triple that. The man, now fully dressed, slammed the door shut and stormed out in a fit of rage. I sat up, straightened myself, and stared at the vanity table laden with luxury brands like Givenchy and Dior. I couldn't help but shed a tear of sudden wealth. I'm so foolish. If I had known I'd become a rich woman overnight, I wouldn't have spent so long yesterday trying to save 1,200 dong on my food order. According to the logic of CEO novels, my sister usually fell into one of two categories. If she was healthy, she'd try to harm me. If she had some illness, she'd try to harm one of my internal organs or some part of my body. I decided to meet this sister. As a beautiful flower of my nation, I had a duty to nip this antisocial bud in the bud to protect the stability and peace of progressive human society. Progress in my quality of life lay in directly confronting the tyrannical CEO and the weak white lotus. Bring it on, Maeve. Nina sat quietly on a chair, her face a pie chart. 3 parts delicate, 3 parts pure, 4 parts hostile. Only I could see how pale and fragile she looked. Suddenly my entire body ached. She feigned extreme concern, her voice gentle. Sister, why are you here? What happened? Got straight to the point. Nina, you like Damon Blackwood, don't you? You're upset that I married him, aren't you? I took her hand, looking sincerely into her eyes. No need to say anything more. I'll give you 50 million, and I'll leave your man. What the heck? I wondered if my family's financial situation was truly so dire that 50 million was an unreasonable offer. Why else would my sister burst into tears like a pear blossom in the rain, calling Damon Blackwood to accuse me of insulting her? I hesitated, haggling with her. How about 49 million? I really can't go any lower. You're buying a man worth hundreds of millions. From the other end of the line, Damon Blackwood's furious roar echoed. Maeve, shut up. A tyrannical CEO over the phone is just a paper tiger. So I said, oh, I won't shut up. We had a minute-long flea market bargaining session. Mostly I was just lowballing myself. A minute later, Damon Blackwood gritted his teeth. Woman, I advise you not to test my limits. Is this how you tyrannical CEOs operate? If a deal falls through, you threaten someone's life. I struggled one last time. The price is negotiable, really, it is. Damon Blackwood laughed coldly. From the phone I heard a violent car engine start. Oh no, I'm doomed. Damon Blackwood is on his way here to emotionally and likely physically torment me. I was so sad. If Nina had been a bit more generous and invested in her future as a rich woman, things wouldn't have come to this. I looked down at Nina. Have you seen Tiny Times? I sighed philosophically. Love without is like dust. No need for wind. Just a few steps, and it dissipates. Though Nina wasn't skilled in finance, her White Lotus skills were top-notch. The moment the tyrannical CEO's iconic footsteps echoed from outside the door, she immediately put on a fragile, gentle face, kneeling beside me, so close it looked like we were just discussing split ends. But if you looked closely, you'd see that in her gentleness lay a pitiful resignation, and in her intimacy, a hint of pathetic weakness. Truly impressive. An ordinary person would surely have fallen for it, but I wasn't ordinary. I was the heir to socialism. The moment Damon Blackwood entered, I immediately collapsed onto the floor, squeezing out a single weak, helpless tear. Do whatever you want. Perhaps he'd never encountered a strong woman like me shedding tears, so the rage that was about to erupt on his face froze in confusion. Some people, though living, are actually dead. What joy is there in life? What sorrow in death? Before I had no choice. Now, I just want to be a good person. Damon Blackwood clearly didn't read quotes, because he was truly stunned by me. He reluctantly bent down, his voice unexpectedly gentle. What exactly do you want? I had been making a fuss for so long, and yet this man, who could speak 8 languages and manipulate the national economy, still didn't understand. How else was I supposed to imply that I just wanted him and Nina to leave me alone? If they liked each other, they should just go off together, hand in hand, flying to the ends of the earth, forever entwined. I glanced at Damon Blackwood, then at Nina, and suddenly had an idea. I solemnly pointed at my glossy black hair. I want you to dye this green. I deserve a separate paragraph to praise myself. I felt I had truly outdone myself this time. I was sure Damon Blackwood understood my meaning now, because the expression on his face changed so rapidly it could be called a whirlwind of emotions, like when I first transmigrated and found a naked man next to me. Damon Blackwood sat down, one hand gently caressing my cheek, his eyes deep and dangerously captivating. You're the first woman who dares to speak such words to me. I suddenly had a bad feeling. He looked at me with a mysterious gaze, slowly uttering 3 chilling words. How interesting. I'm doomed. Nina's eyes were red, glaring at me. Nina, you're scheming, shameless, a total green tea. I lifted my chin, glaring back, secretly signaling to her. Come on, come fight me for this man. Nina, you're truly shameless. Come on, don't just talk. Damon Blackwood, who was still caressing my face, interrupted. What are you two doing? Felt wronged. Why hadn't I had time to enjoy being a rich woman before enduring countless chaotic, dramatic scenes like this? As expected, it was always best to strike first. I sincerely looked straight into Damon Blackwood's eyes. Damon Blackwood, let's get a divorce. Damon Blackwood's face immediately darkened. He glanced at Nina, the corner of his lips curling into a half-sinister, half-cold smile. All right, reason, I love someone else. He's humorous, witty, successful, intelligent, calm. Most importantly, I feel happy every day I'm with him. A general rule of tyrannical CEOs. They can betray me, but I absolutely cannot betray them. At this moment, a vein throbbed on Damon Blackwood's forehead. The hand that had been caressing my face suddenly gripped my chin. Who is he? I pretended to smile gently. You don't know him. His name is Shen Ting. I was guilty. I had actually turned a performer into the tyrannical CEO's secret lover. This plot could easily be a whole new novel. The tyrannical rich woman's exclusive domination and the humorous male lead. In short, thanks to Professor Shen, I successfully obtained my divorce certificate. Thank you, Professor Shen. Damon Blackwood even gave me 50 million. To be precise, 49 million. The moment I regained my freedom, my heart was suddenly filled with darkness. Damn it, someone like me, who could ponder over 1,200 dong for half a day, truly had no concept of the tyrannical CEO's hundreds of millions. If I had known, I would have demanded 200 billion up front, used the divorce settlement to squeeze onto Forbes' billionaire list, and then become a dazzling diamond single alongside my devoted second male lead, heading straight to the pinnacle of life. Wait, where's my second male lead? Where's my big, strapping second male lead? Was I really the female lead? Or had I completely misjudged the entire plot? Was the real story a tragic romance between Damon Blackwood and Nina? But I, the evil Villainess, had gotten in the way, preventing the two lovers from being together? I looked back at everything I had experienced, my eyes filled with sorrow. It seemed this possibility wasn't entirely out of the question. In the chilling atmosphere, my phone suddenly vibrated. A message. Don't forget tonight's party. The sender was saved as my biological mother. I checked my phone's calendar. Sure enough, there was a commercial party scheduled for tonight. In the world of CEOs, whether male lead, female lead, supporting male or supporting female, everyone seemed to have packed schedules, and they almost certainly all gathered at the same luxurious party. It was no surprise. If I was truly the evil supporting female, attending the party would only lead to being mocked by the two of them, the couple about to remarry for the second time. I wasn't interested in such low-level soul-massaging drama. I was terrified, honestly. Why did every method of seducing a male lead around the world involve drugging him? Why was everyone's tranquilizer so easy to obtain? Why, after being drugged, could they still run around and finally corner me in the lounge? Damon Blackwood trapped me against the wall, his head bowed, his hot breath constantly fanning my neck and shoulder. I took 2 seconds to wonder if this plot counted as the drugger getting a taste of their own medicine. Damon Blackwood seemed to sense my mind wandering. In his hazy state, he still managed to turn my head, frowning impatiently. Are you daring to be distracted in front of me, woman? What are you thinking? My face contorted. I'm thinking how to finish you off. Damon Blackwood lowered his head and bit my neck, gnawing on it with such dedication that I felt like a perfect packaged duck neck, ready to be delivered to him. I immediately pulled out my phone and dialed 911. Beep. A perfect duck neck half-eaten. Beep. Perfect duck neck 99% eaten. Damon Blackwood even intended to peel off the packaging and devour it whole. Beep. Someone picked up. Hello, how can I help you? While trying to push this man's head away, I screamed tragically. Police! Help! Aya! I didn't know why things had unfolded this way. Perhaps in dangerous situations, human survival instincts couldn't be judged by normal logic. When the police arrived, Damon Blackwood had almost stripped off his expensive designer clothes. His entire body read like a freshly boiled lobster, sprawled on the sofa. Meanwhile, I was using all my strength to hold him down, my right hand holding a teapot I had grabbed from the table, ready to alter the trajectory of some parts of his body. Of course, once that teapot came down, I would also alter the trajectory of his life. Given Damon Blackwood's special status, nothing really happened in the end. Only a doctor was called to check on him, and a police officer was left to observe the situation. The young officer and I stood outside the lounge, exchanging meaningful glances. This officer was quite handsome, but his gaze at me was a bit strange. A sad romantic drama began to play out in my mind. Childhood sweethearts, separated for many years, reunited once more. But alas, the first love was now a married woman, causing the man pain because he loved but could not have. Was this my second male lead? I focused on my role, asking in a low voice. Have we met before? The officer smiled shyly. No, it's just that I've never seen anyone able to subdue an adult man like you. The waiting time became incredibly long, especially after hearing that last remark. Rushed footsteps echoed from the end of the hallway. Finally, Nina, who was also at the party, rushed over. Her face maintained its usual gentle and worried expression. At first glance, there was nothing unusual, but if you looked closely, you'd see that the gentle smile on her face stiffened slightly the moment she saw me. Tears welled up in her eyes as she choked out. Why, sister? I can't believe it's you. I see. So you're the wolf in dove's clothing, already packaged and just waiting to fly directly into my mouth. The wolf, weeping, rushed over and grabbed my arm, her face looking guilty, but her mouth still spouting absurd lines. Sister, you and brother Damon have already divorced. Why are you still using such despicable methods to cling to him? I was about to change Damon Blackwood's life trajectory, and she wanted me to be the scapegoat. "Sister, you divorced your IQ a long time ago," I declared confidently. "Nina, aren't you and Damon Blackwood about to remarry? Can't these things wait until after the wedding? Wait, where did you get this stuff? If there's a supplier, why don't you share it with me?" The police officer had an unreadable expression. As someone well-versed in all sorts of schemes, I sensed that the current situation was not simple. The next second I heard the lounge door behind me open. Damon Blackwood leaned against the doorframe, rubbing his temples, clearly in great discomfort. I knew it. In all CEO novels, if the supporting female lead is holding the female lead's arm, the male lead will surely appear behind them, hear all the supporting female's accusations, and then coldly walk away, leaving the female lead with nothing but his towering back. I was truly miserable. I had only just begun to play the role of the evil supporting female. I was waiting to see how Damon Blackwood would furiously reprimand me for slandering his White Lotus's innocence. But no. Damon Blackwood rubbed his forehead for a moment, his voice hoarse. "What do you want that for? Are you going to use it on your little lover?" Damon Blackwood laughed coldly, his eyes darkening. "Or have you set your sights on another man?" He took a step closer to me, his eyes full of danger. "Don't think you can continue playing emotional games with that Shenting fellow. Woman in this life, don't even dream of leaving me." "Hold on, are you making up your own forced love story again?" I said mournfully. Damon Blackwood, snap out of it. "Nina is still standing here." Damon Blackwood frowned, his voice resolute. "I am perfectly lucid. The person I love is you. This is called, if you don't get something, you'll always be restless." I immediately cut him off. "The loved one always has the right to be arrogant," I continued. "The deep red of a rose, a fragile dream held in hand, slips through the fingers and vanishes." Wait, did I just start singing? I spent a full 15 minutes trying to understand what the hell was happening. In short, the White Lotus Nina had been exposed. This whole affair had to begin when Damon Blackwood was a proud high school student. Back then, this young Damon wasn't as arrogant as he was now. He was a lonely little cabbage, abandoned by his parents, spending his entire adolescence browse the internet for comfort. And then he met an interesting woman. A woman who would text him every morning like this: "Choose a beautiful day, cut away negative worries, erase anxieties and dissatisfactions, recreate a joyful mood. Have a good day. Good morning." This person was so interesting that she successfully attracted Damon Blackwood's attention. As expected, she was his friend. In short, the young Damon Blackwood developed a strong interest in this interesting woman. But ironically, after Damon Blackwood graduated, that account never texted again. Thus, the White Lotus Nina had the opportunity to usurp her identity, impersonate the account, and begin a dog blood romance. In the years that followed, even as a brilliant tyrannical CEO who controlled a multi-million-dollar conglomerate, Damon Blackwood always felt something was off. But every time he showed signs of doubt, I would interfere and disrupt his thought process entirely. Until recently, a large e-commerce platform launched a massive super promotion, and links to receive bonuses flooded the internet. And then, Damon Blackwood received a link from that interesting woman. At that moment, Nina was sitting next to him. The air became absolutely silent. And so, Damon Blackwood finally realized that the interesting woman was his high school homeroom teacher. So what did this dog blood romance have to do with me? A man who had a crush on his homeroom teacher was now standing in front of me, sincerely confessing his feelings. This gave me goosebumps more than the story itself. I bitterly wiped away my tears. Before, I couldn't find a lover, but after just one sleep, I not only lost my single status but my marriage also evaporated, and my only sister was oddly incomprehensible. Now, looking back at my life, besides 49 million, I had nothing left. Oh no, I also had an ex-husband whose brain had enough water to qualify for the list of the world's 5 largest oceans. Damon Blackwood seemed to sense something. "What are you thinking?" I looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle, my voice full of melancholy. Be quiet. I'm reminiscing about the first half of my life. Lu Xun once said, there is no road out of a tyrannical CEO's clutches. If you walk long enough, it becomes a road. The above quote was not actually said by Lu Xun. I began my fake tantrum. Oh no, I'm falling. I whined, stamping my feet on the ground. But I don't want to be with you. You're always so mean to me. My heart is so tiny. I wasn't boasting, but except for Damon Blackwood, whom I suspected had no facial muscles whatsoever, I clearly saw the expressions of the police officer, Nina, and even the doctor eavesdropping in the lounge change at lightning speed, into 7 colors of the rainbow. No exaggeration. I continued on my path of whining. I'm telling the truth. Don't look at me like that. If you look at me like that again, I'll cry. I even reached out and pulled at Damon Blackwood, shaking him. Are you listening to me? Are you listening? But I had made myself nauseous. Damon Blackwood remained as solid as a rock. Only the corner of his mouth twitched subtly, almost imperceptibly. Damon Blackwood's lips trembled as he slowly said, it's not that I can't change. The enemy retreats, I advance. I don't like it when you call me woman. I also don't like it when you're always touching me. Compare yourself to other men. What do you have that's better than them? You have money, you have looks. He paused, then seriously added, an 8-pack. Damn it. As a shallow person, I was actually a little moved. Stop, heart, calm down. Let me analyze myself rationally. Why did I get a divorce? Wasn't it because I didn't want to be emotionally and physically tormented by Damon Blackwood and targeted by Nina? Wasn't it because I wanted to escape this brainless plot and return to building a bright socialist future? I must not betray my ideals, Maeve. I returned with renewed vigor. I can do it again. I looked around. I saw Damon Blackwood, who was grimacing but rarely willing to compromise. I saw Nina, who was crying so much her mascara ran into 3,000 rivers of tears. Wait a minute. I suddenly realized. It seemed I had accidentally skipped all the emotional torment and dealing with the evil supporting female plots, hadn't I? I had reason to suspect that Damon Blackwood's world-renowned one-of-a-kind degree was fake, because his reading comprehension was completely unworthy of that degree. I took a deep breath, painfully covering my eyes. Of course, it only looked painful. In reality, through the gaps in my fingers, I was secretly admiring his abs and was extremely jealous of his cool, pale skin. We wrestled for 5 minutes. The 10th time I secretly peeked through my fingers, Damon Blackwood finally spoke, and when he did, it was a killer blow. Woman, you truly are unlike others. What did I do now? Others like my status, money and power, but you are different, Damon Blackwood said, looking at me with deep, complex eyes. You only desire my body. Who desires your body? Can we please stop this topic? If we keep going, this article will be reposted for violating community standards. My inner turmoil surged, but outwardly I was as calm as an autumn lake. Don't talk nonsense. Finally, Damon Blackwood put his clothes back on, mainly because the car's air conditioning wasn't on, and the cold was biting. My mood, after a day of roller coaster-like ups and downs, finally returned to normal. At this moment I was calmer than ever. What do you want to tell me? Remarry. Oh, remarry. Damon Blackwood, did you think I'd be more surprised? Well, as long as you don't take off your clothes right now, we can discuss anything. He seemed unaccustomed to this peaceful atmosphere. Damon Blackwood gently tapped his wristwatch twice, then opened the door and moved to the driver's seat. It's late. I'll take you home. He hesitated. My home. Damon Blackwood glanced at me in the rearview mirror. Where else would you want to go? You mean you're not going to kidnap me and lock me up with iron chains to make me deeply experience your twisted love? Where did you learn that from? Nina. I was relieved. At the same time, I obediently closed the tab on my phone titled, How to Escape a Human Trafficker. A strange silence suddenly fell in the car. Damon Blackwood suddenly said, I've been thinking a lot lately. Outside the window, the deep darkness and the faint yellow streetlights filtered through the car window, adding a rare warmth to Damon Blackwood's icy face. He said, I've been thinking, liking you is truly very troublesome. But I like to bring trouble upon myself. I had to admit, this atmosphere made my heart race for a few seconds. But can you put away your collection of best love confessions before saying these cheesy lines? The book cover is sticking out of the storage compartment. After Damon Blackwood finished speaking, he waited for a long time without any reaction from me. His face suddenly became dangerous, the kind of dangerous that made me want to bury myself with those dark memories. Woman, didn't what I said move you? I immediately trembled like a quail, not daring to move. I corrected myself immediately. Not moved. Damon Blackwood smiled with satisfaction. Good then. Don't you like humorous and witty people? In a few days, I'll buy a few entertainment companies so the whole world knows that Chinese comedy belongs to you. Who did you learn that from? That buying the whole fish pond guy. This was probably the most Damon Blackwood had ever spoken in his life. He looked very happy, stepping on the gas, going 120 kilometers per hour. Today's mood is quite joyful. He hesitated. I have something to say, I don't know if I should. Damon Blackwood. There are 10,000 roads in the world. Before I could finish, Damon Blackwood's expensive supercar gloriously collided head-on with a car speeding from the right. My head hit the car door. Blood gushed from my nose in a stream amidst the smoke and dust. I told you. There are 10,000 roads in the world, safety comes first. Driving recklessly brings tears. If you transmigrate, what should you pay attention to? Thanks for the invitation. The transmigrator just got off the hospital bed. Transmigration requires caution. Tyrannical CEOs are not human. Car accidents are eternal. Dog blood drama flows forever. I leaned against the wall outside Damon Blackwood's VIP room, gnawing on an apple, my left arm in a cast. A few days ago, Damon Blackwood had performed a flawed version of Fast and Furious, driving so aggressively he crashed straight into the emergency room. So, in a short period, I had experienced the full combo of 911 and 999 services. Only 112 was missing from the set. Of course, if Damon Blackwood had been even more aggressive, never mind the distance, I might have flown straight out of this beautiful world. The room door opened. Damon Blackwood's private doctor, a true old tortoise, checked his condition and then stepped out with a serious face. Mr. Blackwood is awake. Oh. The doctor hesitated for a moment, then finally couldn't help but say, Miss Maeve, you don't seem worried at all. You wouldn't understand. Every day I reflect on myself 3 times. Did I eat well today? Did I sleep well? Did my life get more dramatic? I skillfully asked. Tell me, amnesia or leukemia? The doctor remained silent for a long time. I was truly panicked. Was there another possibility? A light flashed in my mind. I was in excruciating pain. Could it be that Damon Blackwood and I were half-siblings? The doctor's expression changed subtly as he slowly said, It's amnesia. Not surprising at all. I walked into the hospital room. Damon Blackwood was leaning against the headboard. His face still pale. His large, sparkling eyes looking at me with curiosity. I took his hand, the one without an 4 drip, and gently asked, Do you remember who I am? Damon Blackwood curled his lips into a smile. His voice light and airy. Oh dear, I don't remember who you are. Why are you holding my hand as soon as you come in? My hand trembled slightly. I walked out of the room, closed the door. I stared at the doctor, my voice distant and hazy. Excuse me, I think I just hallucinated. Can you prescribe me some medicine? You didn't see wrong. Mr. Blackwood really has amnesia. And you call this amnesia? This is a complete personality swap. The doctor calmly looked at me. We believe this is a subconscious reaction. Perhaps when you spoke to Mr. Blackwood in this way before, it left a deep impression on him. Or rather, it created a psychological shadow. Don't lie to me. When I acted that scene, he clearly didn't show any expression. I reintroduced myself to Damon Blackwood. "I'm your ex-wife." Damon Blackwood pouted, frowning. "You divorced me." "Why? I'm not handsome, am I?" I turned to the doctor next to me. "Are you really sure there's no way to cure him?" "Not at the moment." "No problem. Have an idea." "Like finding a pole and hitting him hard on the head." Damon Blackwood pursed his lips coyly. "What are you doing? You're so beautiful, don't do anything so bloody." I shed tears of emotion. "All right then, let's not cure him." Compared to the former dog, this version is much more talkative. After Damon Blackwood turned into a shy man, his little mouth started chirping non-stop, sickeningly sweet. When I frowned, Aya, darling, why are you frowning?" "Frowning isn't pretty, you know. If there's anything, tell me, Aya." When I wore new clothes, "Oh my God, darling, you look beautiful today." "But what are these clothes? Are you still not dressed? Do you want to use my credit card?" When I laughed, "You are listening to When the Villainess Took Over on Mr. Bin's YouTube channel." I apologize mostly because when I heard credit card, the corner of my mouth automatically curved up. Wait, is this how the story is supposed to unfold? If it continues like this, Damon Blackwood and I will become good siblings. From "Don't come near me, I'll call 911. to a serious discussion about one and nothing. I can. The sound of a car horn blared at the hospital gate. Black supercar. A black-suited young man slowly stepped out of the car. He politely opened the back door and gestured with a smile for Damon Blackwood to get in. "Excuse me, who are you?" asked. The young man smiled politely. "You must be Miss Maeve. Young master often speaks of you. I am the Blackwood family's butler, and Madam heard the young master was being discharged today, so she sent me to pick him up for dinner at home." Just dinner. I thought a dramatic scene was about to unfold right here. Damon Blackwood stubbornly pulled me along. I was terrified, knowing that every tyrannical CEO always had an even more tyrannical CEO mother. If I wasn't mistaken, this meal would bring together three crucial figures: Madam Blackwood, Damon Blackwood, and a perfect daughter-in-law already chosen by his mother. The three of them would discuss literature, philosophy, life, and a bright future. But with my presence, that bright future would turn into a cutthroat palace drama. I followed the butler step by step into the Blackwood family mansion, trying to maintain my composure. Suddenly, a cold voice echoed from behind me. "Sister, has the palace drama already begun?" "Huh!" I wasn't startled at all. No surprise there. I slowly turned around and saw Nina's familiar face. "It's you again. I beg you, spare me. People are really going to think I'm helping you advertise." Nina smiled confidently, reaching out to take Damon Blackwood's arm. I advise you not to do that, Nina." Nina ignored me, her eyes filled with deep affection. "Brother Damon, I know you have amnesia, but it's okay, we can start over." Damon Blackwood covered his face and shrieked. "Aya, why is everyone like this? So intimate right away. I'm so embarrassed." "See, I told you not to do that. If you don't listen to your sister, you'll suffer the consequences right before your eyes." We went straight into the dining room. All the way there, Nina maintained a thunderstruck expression until Madam Blackwood emerged, gently took her hand, and wanted to discuss a beautiful future with her. Only then did Nina suddenly snap out of it. "I'm so foolish, truly." Nina shed tears, choking out. "This morning I put on beautiful makeup and rushed here. I called Brother Damon, but no one answered. I went to the door and couldn't find my brother Damon anywhere. I only knew that the car accident could cause him amnesia, could make him forget me." Nina pointed at Damon Blackwood, her voice filled with sorrow. "But I didn't know a car accident could also change his gender." "Wah! This isn't a gender change, and can you stop imitating my way of speaking? Damon Blackwood has completely shattered his old personality. And you, please maintain your White Lotus image, okay?" Madam Blackwood, as expected of Damon Blackwood's mother, did not panic when faced with this scene. First, she gently stroked Nina's life-battered white lotus hair, saying softly, "Nina, don't cry. He'll recover very soon. No one will snatch your brother Damon away, understand?" Then she turned to look at me, her eyes lofty, the corner of her mouth curving down coldly, her features changing so rapidly that she could be honored as the inheritor of Sichuan's face-changing art. "Maeve, what is the meaning of all this?" I almost burst into tears from emotion. How comforting. Madame Blackwood reliably maintained her character. But if there's Nina, why isn't there Maeve? Am I not beautiful? Hateful. I had been assimilated by Damon Blackwood. I recounted the entire incident, but cut off the beginning and the end. I cut the beginning because I was afraid that if Madame Blackwood knew her noble, untouchable son had not only stripped naked but also secretly memorized a collection of cheesy love confessions, she would be so angry she'd faint on the spot. I cut the end because I was afraid that if Madame Blackwood and Nina knew that Damon Blackwood had become this way entirely because I had inadvertently created a psychological shadow for him, they would be so furious they'd strangle me on the spot. Although I recounted the story calmly, Madame Blackwood looked at me as if she wanted to engrave a few lines on my face. "You're a jinx, stay away from my son. See the beautiful girl standing next to you? That's the daughter-in-law of the Blackwood family. Do you even know your ABCs?" Unfortunately, this sentence was a bit long, so in the end, only a face full of curses remained. Who am I? I immediately smelled a money-making opportunity. Actually, if Madame could give me 200 million. Madame Blackwood turned her head to an angle with precise accuracy. Then how about 100 million? Madame Blackwood replaced the curses on her face with a fake, elegant and calm smile. "Everyone, let's eat." "Wait, you're acting like you didn't hear anything. Aren't you a prestigious madam? Why are you so stingy?" The person involved was now full of regret, extreme regret. If I had known, I would have just asked for 1 million. Perhaps with the existing 49 million, I would have had a neat 50 million. Even as Damon Blackwood and I got into the car to return home, the stingy Madame Blackwood still avoided my gaze. It hurt so much, but I wasn't the only one hurting. Damon Blackwood wrapped his strong arm around me. Despite the obvious height difference, he pouted nonchalantly. "Why did my darling say those things? I'm so sad. I can give all my little money to darling. Don't leave me. ? The one who asked to share the car with us, Nina. ? Nina was silent, her eyes filled with sorrow. I was wrong. If you can even endure this, then this is the power of true love, isn't it? ? Nina solemnly took Damon Blackwood's hand and placed it in mine. "I wish you both 100 years of happiness. Give me a chance to refute that." The butler, sitting in the front seat, driving, chuckled softly. "You people are truly adorably naive. I don't know when the car turned into a dark alley." The butler slowly parked the car. Footsteps gradually echoed around us, but he maintained his polite smile, unchanged. "You have 1 more minute until the estimated time. You can continue playing happy family for a little longer," he said. "Say your goodbyes well. When heaven wants to entrust a great responsibility to a person, it will first torment their mind, exhaust their bones, starve their body, make their life difficult, and frustrate all their endeavors, to temper their will and increase their capabilities. But when heaven wants to entrust a great responsibility to Maeve, it will first make her fight the supporting female, deal with the tyrannical CEO, fill her wallet, and then throw her straight into the hands of the villain. Is heaven really trying to harm me?" The butler got out of the car and opened the back door. Behind him was a long line of young men dressed in black from head to toe. In the intimidating atmosphere, the butler still slowly and calmly made an extremely polite inviting gesture, looking very much like a big boss, very villainous. He looked at our 3 bewildered faces, smiling without smiling. What? Surprised. How should I put it? It's quite surprising, mainly because I didn't expect that among a stingy Madame Blackwood, a sorrowful supporting female Nina, and an amnesiac tyrannical CEO Damon Blackwood, there would also be a serious villain following the plot. Moreover, he looks very strong. Until now, he doesn't even have a name. What a pitiful villain. The only villain so far who was conscious of maintaining his image. The butler was very traditional, very talkative. He adhered to the principle of, if you can ramble, don't resort to violence. He grandiosely began an emotional speech, forcing us to stand in the dark, cold alley and listen to his stories of yesteryear. I am the illegitimate child of the Blackwood family. Are you his older or younger brother? Let's talk things through slowly. I have been patient for so long, just waiting for this moment. As long as Damon Blackwood is not here, I will. Nina next to me suddenly burst into tears. Her voice as high as an opera soprano. The butler was interrupted for the second time. A vein throbbed on the butler's forehead. Attack. The situation changed too quickly. In a flash, over a dozen black-clad youths surrounded us. People ran left, people ran right. In this critical moment, the god of war, Damon Blackwood, immediately entered the fray. His face was as cold as ice. His steps were powerful. He delivered a perfectly executed left hook, charging straight into the crowd. Although soft iya sounds constantly echoed around, his blows were decisive. One punch, one person. 5 seconds, one life. In a blink of an eye, he broke through the encirclement and cleared out the entire group, finally collapsing amidst a battlefield of bodies, covering his face and whimpering in panic. You scared me to death. You were so mighty just now. I almost thought you were faking amnesia. After the battle achieved a partial victory, the White Lotus warrior Nina immediately launched her next attack. She pulled out a can of wolf spray from her exquisite luxury bag and sprayed it wildly at the surrounding thugs with the same intensity as when seeing a southern snake and spraying insecticide, coupled with a piercing shriek comparable to a dolphin's vocal range. This combination of physical and mental attacks was truly vicious, excellent, outstanding. Fortunately, I was not her enemy at the moment. As for me, I was wrestling with the final boss, this villain, who from beginning to end tried to maintain a noble demeanor. Perhaps he initially targeted Damon Blackwood, but after witnessing his mighty achievements, he seemed utterly speechless and turned to attack me instead. At that time, I was taking advantage of the chaos to hide behind the car and call the police. The butler twirled a knife in his hand, a sinister smile spreading across his face. Miss Maeve, what are you doing? I didn't know what I was doing, but now I really wanted to butcher his mother. My only weapons were a phone and 2 high heels. The opponent had a knife. I decisively held a high heel and screamed at the top of my lungs. Damon Blackwood, help me! Aya! Damon Blackwood hobbled over, but before he arrived, I had a dramatic skirmish with the butler. Specifically, the butler cut my arm with a knife, and I bit down hard on his knife-wielding wrist. Now the knife had fallen to the ground because he was in too much pain to hold it. Both of us were hand to hand, leg to leg, head to head, maintaining an awkward stalemate. So the physical battle shifted into a turn-based verbal spar. I bit his hand tightly, muttering curses. Weakling! Humph! Don't know your place. Bastard! Humph! Don't know your place. You're his younger brother. Humph! Don't know your place. I can't take it anymore. Is that all you know how to say? His face turned grim as he coldly spat out a sentence. Humph! Don't know your place. Oh my God, he should at least update his insults. He couldn't even swear properly. What kind of villain was he? The strength difference between men and women was already significant, let alone with a wound on my hand. After struggling for a long time, when I saw Damon Blackwood appear, I truly couldn't bear it anymore. My legs went limp, and I collapsed to the ground, emitting the desperate cry of a salted fish. I give up. The butler moved quickly, immediately spun around, and unexpectedly delivered a headbutt to Damon Blackwood. I only saw Damon Blackwood clutching his head and falling to the ground. The butler let out a sigh of relief, then rubbed his temples and turned to look at me. Hey! Do you know what hitting an amnesiac's head can cause? The butler sneered. Do you know what annoying me can cause? I just said you don't know how to swear. No need to get mad about this, big brother. I don't want to know. Sorry, my Chinese isn't very good. How are you? Before the butler could even open his mouth, Damon Blackwood, holding his head, stood up behind him. The wound on his forehead, not yet healed, was hit again. Blood flowed down his fingers, making him look even more villainous than the villain. Without a word, he punched the butler in the face. This punch contained all the rage of someone who had just recovered a forgotten account password after many years. Not until the butler was beaten to a pulp, his nose swollen and unable to move, did Damon Blackwood slowly walk up to me. He reached out and pulled me up, his voice no longer sharp, whispering in my ear. I'm back, my darling. This is... I knew I should be moved at this moment, but his blood-splattered face really didn't look very cool. In the quiet depths of the night, after completing the obligatory elementary English conversation, Damon Blackwood remained in the same position, his face buried in the hollow of my neck, lying motionless for half an hour. This scene made me start to wonder if that headbutt earlier had not only restored his main account but also made him stupid. Wait, this scene looks familiar. According to typical dramas, Damon Blackwood should now be spitting out a mouthful of blood. His eyes half closed, slowly sliding down my body. Then he would grasp my hand, his lips moving repeatedly, and then with his last breath, weakly call my name. Finally, he would try to say, I love you, but only manage one word before fading away. A little embarrassing, huh? Should I cooperate with him and let out a long scream towards the sky? Well, just as I was immersed in this emotional scene, Damon Blackwood suddenly spoke. Maeve, I'm ready. I remember now. When the accident happened, I thought I was going to die. Now, recalling the past period, I feel it would have been better to die then. You're the fake Damon Blackwood, aren't you? Don't give up on life so quickly. Isn't the crying Damon Blackwood more adorable? I could imagine Damon Blackwood going insane seeing the recent news reports. Shocking. Blackwood Group Chairman's dark past exposed. This cold, heartless man has such an adorable side. Unbelievable. Two faces. In public and behind the scenes. The tyrannical CEO turns out to be a sweet little angel. Exclusive. Blackwood Group Chairman pouts to a mysterious girl in the middle of the night. Old love discarded. New romance blossoming. Wait, something felt off. Damon Blackwood was immersed in his torment. His memory retrieval process looping for half a minute. I, meanwhile, diligently served as a human stand at the alley's entrance. Nina and the villains continued their tragic chorus, occasionally interrupted by the butler's wild curses. The piercing screams echoed, and the verbal sparring raged. Everyone gathered for an unforgettable night. The scene was so lively, I almost wanted to celebrate Lunar New Year early. The butler cursed for a while, then paused to catch his breath. Moments later, he staggered to his feet. He seemed very conscious of maintaining his cool demeanor because the first thing he did wasn't to threaten or pull out a knife, but to adjust his clothes. Only after ensuring he was still a stylish and dashing man did he subtly curl his lips and pull out a small remote control from his pocket. He said, "Don't move." He said, "I've planted explosives in the car." He didn't say it loudly, but as soon as he finished, the alley, which had been as noisy as New Year's Eve, fell into absolute silence. Perhaps even his subordinates hadn't expected this. If you can't have it, destroy everything. That's enough. In such a critical situation, don't rap anymore. The butler leaned against the supercar. His legs crossed stylishly. In that moment, he no longer looked like a villain but like a salesperson at a luxury car showroom. This salesperson waved his hand grandly, slowly saying, "It's cold. How about letting the Blackwood Group?" The butler narrowed his eyes slightly, a hint of mystery in his gaze. "And you all be buried together. It's not a bad thing." "Excuse me, can I interrupt?" The butler's face flushed from being ignored. "What do you want to say? Say it quickly. Have you ever heard of prosperity, democracy, civilization, harmony? Have you ever been enlightened by socialism?" In the dark alley, a faint click echoed. In the night, armed police forces gradually appeared. Cold gun muzzles pointed straight at the forehead of the man holding the remote control. I solemnly, formally, and slowly said, "Remember, 110 is watching you." I truly was a pillar of socialism. Damon Blackwood clung to me all this time, with life and death hanging in the balance, and a dubious atmosphere hanging heavy, yet I completely forgot the romance element. The butler sneered, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. "Miss Maeve, even at this point, do you still think these threats will work on me?" I opened my mouth, but before I could say anything, Damon Blackwood finally escaped his embarrassment from pouting earlier, regaining his composure and shielding me. He narrowed his eyes at the man who shared half his blood, asking in a low voice, "What exactly do you want?" The butler toyed with the remote control in his hand. The explosives were also a threat to the police, so he maintained his composure, even relaxing and stretching his legs into a very dashing pose. "Of course, to destroy everything. You're only asking this now. Isn't it a bit late, young master?" This time no one interrupted him. The police officer pointing a gun at his head suddenly lunged forward, shouting, "Watch out!" The butler pressed the button, focused solely on enforcing the law. I sighed in relief. When the butler charged forward to grab me, I had just finished telling the police the license plate number. When I saw him, I immediately displayed the best acting skills of my life, from trembling hands to panicked eyes. Every detail was perfectly portrayed. After chapters of struggling, 911 finally arrived. "Now let's see how you don't surrender." Wait, did he intend to die with us just now? My breath caught again. A deafening explosion shook the heavens and earth. Damon Blackwood grabbed me, held me tightly, and ran like mad. In the chaos, I still managed to turn my head and look back. A real man never looks back at an explosion, but a woman can. A scorching heat surged from behind. I didn't know which part of the car had exploded into smithereens, creating a piercing, ear-splitting sound. My eyes were burning from the fire, and I couldn't see anything else, nor could I see the butler anymore, the one who had so many stories to tell but ultimately became an accident. Damon Blackwood had only run a few steps when both of us were thrown to the ground by the force of the explosion. He landed heavily on top of me. The weight of a tall, muscular man almost turned me from a survivor into a fatality. In my daze, I felt as if I heard God calling my name. Wait, this isn't God calling. This is Damon Blackwood talking to me. Damon Blackwood's voice was very faint. "Maeve, it seems we're really going to die this time. There's one question I've always wanted to ask you." At this moment, neither of us was completely lucid. One struggled to ask, one struggled to listen. I didn't know if life would end here, but we had faced death together. As the saying goes, true feelings are revealed in adversity. So, even if he asked me about remarriage, I would definitely. Damon Blackwood whispered, each word weak, escaping his lips. "Shenteng. Who exactly is he? Why was Professor Shen still getting screen time?" So, he was jealous of Professor Shen all along. Is this my second male lead? Why is my second male lead so insubstantial? Before losing consciousness, I had only one thought. Damon Blackwood had won. This question was so infuriating that even in death, I couldn't rest in peace. I woke up to an unfamiliar room. A bright white ceiling gleaming 4 poles, and the man on the bed next to me silently watching me with a shiny bald head. His hair must have been singed by the fire and had to be cut. What a surprise! The hospital room door creaked open. Nina peeked half her body in. Earlier, she had wielded her wolf spray, fighting with increasing vigor, charging straight to the alley's entrance, 80,000 miles away from the explosion. So, no matter how fragile she usually was, she was now much healthier than the two of us lying in hospital beds. Most importantly, her face was even rosier than usual. Behind her was the police officer I had met at the party. What is this? Under my questioning gaze, the redness on Nina's face quickly intensified by several degrees. Her layered complexion chart completely collapsed, revealing a scarlet face. I looked at the handsome police officer, then at Nina. See. Hero saving the beauty. The White Lotus supporting female, after letting go of the male lead, quickly develops a new romantic line. Her speed in finding a lover is even faster than a 100-meter sprint. I looked at the handsome police officer, then back at Damon Blackwood's bald head. The tears of a female lead without a second male lead silently rolled down my face. I'm so jealous. The handsome police officer scratched his head, grinning foolishly, revealing 2 small fangs. Hello everyone, we meet again. I couldn't help but say in the voice of an elder watching their juniors in love. Yes, good. Let me introduce myself. Yes, my name is Ma Yun. What? It's him again. What kind of fairy tale love story is this? A love story where we all get pickpocketed together. I took a deep breath, then returned Nina's own words to her. This is the power of true love, isn't it? I wish you both 100 years of happiness. Nina and her upgraded Ma Yun informed us of the explosion's results. Only one person died, the butler. The rest were basically out of danger. They diligently sent their regards to the 2 victims lying in hospital beds. Nina even personally peeled an extremely ugly apple as a way of establishing peaceful and friendly diplomatic relations with me. Then she hooked arms with Ma Yun and left. The paragraph above is not an advertisement for a corporate image. Besides, life is so tiring. I'm truly exhausted. No male supporting villain exploding into smithereens. Just a bald head staring at me. Why are you staring at me, woman? You still haven't answered me. Oh, I gritted my teeth. It doesn't matter who Shen Teng is. What matters is that I am the one he can never have in this life. Is that the end? No, not yet. I still have one unanswered question. Damon Blackwood, if you and Madam Blackwood both didn't like me at first, then how exactly did I manage to marry into your family? He raised his eyebrows. Because my father, my grandfather, and my grandmother were all your supporters. So my supporters were that powerful. Why didn't you say so earlier? My legs almost gave out from fear when I was at your house. I wasn't scared anymore. I could completely take control of the game. The entire Blackwood family now only had one Empress Dowager who overshadowed the other Empress Dowager. I returned to being Neohuru Maeve, capable of easily converting that prestigious madam, defeating the women waiting to marry into the Blackwood family, and writing a new legend. Damon Blackwood, I formally invited him. Will you agree to spend the rest of your life building socialism with me? Damon Blackwood's face was expressionless. Why are you so troublesome? Do you think I'd be fooled by your ruler-straight cold face? You're clearly smiling. You've never stopped smiling. Damon Blackwood maintained his stiff expression and solemnly said cheesy words. Fortunately, he liked bringing trouble upon himself. I just read a book and memorized one sentence. Your degree must be